What's good, y'all? I am the dating pool guy, and today we will be reacting to an interesting video. Perfect housewife faces forbidden temptations with her best friend's younger brother. Oh, that's mad work. But if he's in the friend zone, I mean, hey, what can you do, man? You know what I'm saying? If you're her friend, then it's just your friend. Like, you know what I'm saying? Hey, what can you do? But yeah, let's go ahead and jump in, man, and let's see what this is about. This is a story recapped, one of my favorite channels, man. So let's get it.
Housewife trapped in an unfulfilling marriage encounters a free-spirited man who awakens her deepest desires and offers a glimpse of the life she's been longing for. Moments before her bridal walk, Angelika retreats to a nearby room, gripped with anxiety. With her is her best friend Norma, who offers comforting words, reminding her that nerves are normal and that her love for Darius is all that truly matters. Reassured, Angelika regains her composure, and they head to the chapel. Just as she's about to walk down the aisle, Norma playfully offers a shot of alcohol to further calm her nerves. However, the teetotaler Angelika gently declines, determined to stick to her principles even on a special day like that. Sometime later, Angelika helps Norma plan her wedding. While Angelika's was intimate out of practicality, Norma dreams of a grand, unforgettable celebration. Pragmatic as ever, Angelika suggests saving her money instead for her post-wedding life. But Norma insists the splurge is worth it. Ultimately, Angelika sets aside her reservations to support her best friend's vision. When Angelika returns home, Darius eagerly greets her, ready for her to model for him. She suggests freshening up first, but he insists it's unnecessary and convinces her to start right away. As she strikes pose after pose, her husband showers her with compliments, clearly captivated by her beauty. Emboldened, she playfully suggests they take their passion further right then and there. To her disappointment, though, he brushes off the suggestion, staying focused on his photography and leaving as soon as he's satisfied with his shots.
All right, so y'all can already tell where this is going. Y'all can tell, like the way this is set up. I mean, this man is set up to lose, man. You know what I'm saying? Like he's already showering her with compliments. He's like, "Oh, you're so beautiful." Oh, blah blah blah. And that's one thing that I've discovered. Like, women do not like that, man. You know what I'm saying? When you shower them with beauty, shower them with compliments, like shower them with all this stuff, man. You know what I'm saying? Just treat everyone normally. You know what I'm saying? Don't put anybody on a pedestal, because when you do that, they start to, like, it may seem like that's the right thing to do, but let me tell you, it's not the right thing to do. So don't even try to figure out, well, is it the right thing? No, don't do that. You know what I'm saying? Also, like, she was trying to, get with my guy, you know what I'm saying? But he was captivated by his work, you know what I'm saying, by the camera. So it was just kind of crazy to me, because it's like, okay, you're talking about her beauty, you're talking about all this stuff, but you know what I'm saying, you have her right there, and you just like, no, I'm taking pictures. Crazy. So I could already tell he's already like taking L's, you know what I'm saying? So let's get it.
That night, Angelika laments that they've gone 2 months without intimacy, with Darius so consumed by work. While he eventually gives in to her wish, his lack of effort leaves her feeling unfulfilled. The next morning, following their usual routine, Angelika prepares food for Darius while he works from his home studio. Once finished, she heads to Norma's house to continue planning for her wedding. As the two friends browse pictures for inspiration, Norma's brother Simon makes an unexpected arrival. Norma is thrilled to see him, but quickly apologizes to Angelika, explaining she thought he wouldn't arrive until the next day. True to his laid-back nature, Simon nonchalantly removes his tank top as he strolls into the kitchen. Noticing Angelika's discomfort, he warmly introduces himself, adding that he recognizes her from one of his sister's old photos. He cheekily points out that her unicorn print undergarment was visible in the picture, inspiring him and his sister to nickname her Angelika the Unicorn in their conversations. Annoyed but unwilling to engage, Angelika opts to stay silent. As the women prepare to leave, Norma explains that Angelika doesn't hang out with single men, prompting Angelika to clarify that she simply finds it inappropriate. Simon then quips that he'd never want to hang out with someone like her anyway, adding he only wants to spend time with his sister. Offended, Angelika snaps back, agreeing that it's probably best for them to spend time together, and storms out. Worried, Norma quickly follows, urging her to return. However, Angelika reiterates her desire to keep her own rule about not hanging out with single men out of respect for her husband.
Okay, so I'm not gonna be pausing. Well, I'm not gonna lie to you. I don't know what I'm gonna do. But let me say this real quick. Friends like this, these are the ones you got to be careful of. The friends that are like the free spirited, like single, like, oh, do how you feel, like, do what you want. Be careful, bro, because these are the friends that will get your girl in these situations. Of course, at the end of the day, it's her decision, but these are the type of friends that, bruh, like, they'll talk them into this kind of stuff. You know what I'm saying? Where it's like perfectly okay. They see nothing wrong. It's a natural, blah, blah. All this free spirit stuff. The red flag, man. Be careful with friends. If she has friends like this, just be careful about how close they are, you know, how she listens to them. Not saying that it's not bruh's fault, but this helps her, like, go in this direction. Second thing, her brother. Notice that her brother, like, me originally, I know, like, who guys watching this, you know what I'm saying? And I have some ladies that watch my videos too. Appreciate y'all, you know what I'm saying? But anybody could see, like, it doesn't matter. Like, people get so caught up, get so hung up on like attraction and all this stuff, but really, like, you have to look at the circumstances around it. Like, you know, you got to see what is important to her, and that will dictate who she's with. Like, a lot of times with guys, like, we look at beauty. Like, yeah, we love personality. Personality usually comes, like, second for us, not gonna lie. We usually look at the beauty first, right? I've noticed that a lot of ladies are more so about necessity. Like, what do they need out of whatever, like, relationship, friendship, etc., that they're in? What are they gaining from it? So if you look at this, like, you may objectively, of course, her husband, I feel, you know, hey, as a guy, like, from the outside, I feel like her husband looks better than her friend's brother. But it doesn't matter because, look, like, the husband's consumed by work. That guy is just rolling into town. He's got time, you know what I'm saying? Time to spend. Like, you know, like, the husband's kind of like, oh, like, you know, like, I do love you, but we don't really need to do nothing, you know what I'm saying? And then you got this guy, he's walking around with no shirt on, like, just free, you know what I'm saying? Like, so she's seems like she's holding on to a standard, like, with her husband, but it seems like she's more like the friend, you know what I'm saying? Kind of free spirited, kind of like curious. So let's see how this goes. I feel like I already know how this goes, but whatever. But
When Norma calls her mindset old-fashioned, Angelika coolly replies that it's never outdated to be loyal before turning to leave. Later that day, while
see,
Norma and her brother are taste-testing wedding food, she calls Angelika for some questions. As Angelika starts to share her thoughts, Simon suddenly grabs the phone. He jokes that she doesn't get a say since she refuses to spend time with them, and abruptly ends the call. Angelika later confides in Darius about her frustrations with how Norma's wedding preparation is going. Understanding how important Norma's wedding is to his wife, Darius offers reassurance. He encourages her not to give up on her friend and suggests she return to Norma's place to continue helping her. Back at Norma's apartment, Simon greets Angelika over the intercom, playfully asking who she is. Angelika then responds by referencing the nickname he gave her, breaking the tension between them. Norma is overjoyed to see Angelika return, while Simon teases her about her no hanging out with single men rule. Now at ease with him, Angelika fires back by echoing his own words, saying she'd never want to hang out with someone like him anyway, and is only there for her best friend. The trio then moves on to taste testing, where Angelika casually mentions she doesn't drink and is vegan, much to Simon's amusement. When the siblings urge her to loosen up and break her rules for once, Angelika firmly stands by her beliefs. At one point, Simon begins recording the session, prompting Angelika to beg him to stop as it could cause problems with her husband. He agrees, but challenges her to take a bite of a cream-filled dessert as compensation. Annoyed but unwilling to prolong the banter, she reluctantly takes a bite. When Simon notices Angelika enjoying the treat, he dares her to have another. Though initially resistant, she eventually gives in, much to the siblings' delight. While having dinner, Darius notices the snacks Angelika bought and gently reminds her how unhealthy they are. Later, he asks about the man at the taste testing, making Angelika momentarily tense, thinking he's referring to Simon. When it turns out he's asking about the chef instead, Angelika feels a wave of relief. She then praises the chef and thanks Darius for motivating her to return to Norma's.
all right. So y'all see how this is going? You know what I'm saying? Based on what I've said in my other videos, do you see the trajectory already? As soon as I played it, the friend was like, "Hey, be free. Forget this. That's old school." See, free spirit. Also, notice she's hiding. Like, that's my thing. For my guys out there, you know what I'm saying? Ladies, I love y'all too, you know what I'm saying? But I know more about guy stuff. I don't really, I know some stuff, but y'all know better than me. So I can only speak to the fellas on this. Forcing a woman to change her lifestyle, you can't. You can't make her change her lifestyle. You know what I'm saying? You can only inspire. So you have to be so you that she gets inspired by you. Like, notice, like, she's eating healthy. Like, you know what I'm saying? He talks about, like, the loyalty, not hanging with other men. Like, she is inspired by her husband. So she's like, okay, I will follow your lead. But what's happening is he's not being who she needs, or she doesn't see kind of like what she's getting out of it. She's getting less than before. So now she's starting to question like his leadership in a way. And when that starts to happen, you have to check into those things. Like, you have to be emotionally intelligent to be like, okay, like, something's up. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like, oh, you never brought snacks before. Like, oh, you start eating snacks. Like, don't get on her about it. Like, oh, these are unhealthy. Like, you need to blah, blah, blah. No. You need to ask like, oh, like, I didn't notice you started eating snacks. Like, you know what I'm saying? What made you do that? Like, just asking, like, and if she's like, oh, I know, like, I'm so sorry, but it's like, no, I'm not trying to get on you. Like, I was just, curious. That's the thing. You always want to be curious about things. Like, there's no need to like try and go at somebody or like, look like, oh, I'm judging them, blah, blah. No. Like, be curious, but then take notes for yourself to move accordingly. You know what I'm saying? You ain't got to start up no strife. Just hear her out. Like, if you listen long enough, she'll tell you what's going on. You know what I'm saying? Like, she doesn't want to reveal the brother because she knows that she's wrong, in how she feels about it. Like, not yet, you know what I'm saying? But it's heading that way. And so she's already like, let me hide this guy because I already feel like I'm doing wrong. If she wasn't doing wrong, she doesn't feel like she was wrong. She'd be like, oh, guess what? My friend's brother came in, you know what I'm saying? And, he's crazy, but he's quirky. And if you're like, cool, you'd be like, oh, dang, like, you know what I'm saying? It'd be dope to meet him. Like, I like to meet him, maybe one day or whatever. But you're always cool. But in your mind, you could be like, who is this dude? But don't portray that to her. But whatever. Let's get it.
The next day, Angelika works hard at preparing for her best friend's bridal shower. To her dismay, her husband barely acknowledges her efforts and offers minimal assistance. At Norma's bridal shower, Angelika does her best to create a lively atmosphere, but she couldn't quite energize the party. Just then, Simon arrives with a bag of alcohol. Taking one look at the subdued setting, he points out the lack of excitement and begins handing out drinks, quickly lifting everyone's spirits. Much as Angelika tries to play along, she's clearly hurt to see her efforts go to waste. Later that night, Simon approaches Angelika for a heartfelt conversation. With a touch of sincerity, he gently advises her to focus less on rigidly doing what she believes is right, and instead strive to connect more deeply with her own emotions and the feelings of those around her.
Oh my gosh, you see? All this free-spirited, blah, blah, blah. See how he's setting her up? He's like, no, release morals. Like, do what you feel, blah, blah, blah. Because he knows what he's doing. This dude, these are the people you got to watch, man. I mean, he probably a cool dude, but around your girl, watch dudes like this, the whole like, oh, come on, like, here, taste this treat. They'll try and feed her, like, blah, blah, blah. You gotta be like, hey, bro, you gotta shut that. And that's the thing. You don't shut it down in front of her. Like, you don't shut this stuff down in front of her. Like, yo, like, hey, what you doing about, that shows insecurity. You be like, oh, bro, like, bro, like, you go with it, roll with it. You pull him to the side, be like, look, bro, let me tell you something. Like, you gotta chill out, like, for real. Like, I'm not playing with you. You chill out, bro. You know what I'm saying? You go to him and talk to him. And then you're always chill around your girl. Like, because she don't need to see that. You talk to him. You know what I'm saying?
He then asks her what she's truly feeling at that moment. Angelika admits that, deep down, she just wants to let loose, get drunk, and have fun, but quickly adds that it's not really how she wants to behave. Smirking, Simon offers her a choice. She can either join the party and enjoy herself, or sit in the corner silently judging everyone else. After a moment of reflection, Angelika agrees to join in, on the condition that it's just for that one night. Pleased with her decision, Simon hands her a shot of vodka that she downs, and officially welcomes her to the party. For the rest of the night, Norma and their friends revel in the fun, while Simon captures the lively moments on video. Though still not entirely at ease, Angelika makes an effort to participate. Later, a friend gifts Angelika a belly chain. She admits she's always wanted one, but recalls her father telling her that only indecent women wear them. In response, her friend notes that those types of women tend to have the most fun. Hours after the party, Angelika wakes up and notices the same friend slipping away toward the back area, where she begins an intimate encounter with Simon. Feeling awkward, Angelika initially tries to ignore what's happening, but a part of her is unexpectedly drawn in. Unable to resist, she finds herself giving in to the moment. To her shock, though, the two suddenly walk in for some drinks, prompting her to pretend to be asleep. Angelika eventually dozes off and wakes hours later to find Simon sitting across from her. He explains that everyone else has already left while casually pointing out how drab her underclothing looks. Still groggy, she asks why no one woke her, to which he replies that they tried, but she was too deeply asleep. Panicking, she begins searching for her bag to leave, but Simon calmly points out that he already has it and offers to take her home. When she firmly refuses, he retorts that, given her condition, she doesn't have much choice. Once home, Angelika puts on the belly chain along with her most intimate undergarment, eager to see how it looks. Filled with excitement, she calls out to Darius to admire her outfit. However, he could only offer a half-hearted acknowledgement before walking away, leaving her deflated.
Alright, I mean, look, in all honesty, I can't fight for the husband. Come on, bruh. Like, I mean, she bad, you know what I'm saying? She's a very attractive woman. And he's just like, yeah, whatever. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's his fault. I mean, cheating, like I always say on all my videos, cheating is never the answer. But this dude, I mean, he's like literally throwing the other dude the alley. He's throwing the best friend's brother the alley. It's easy work, you know what I'm saying? And see, this is the problem. Like, y'all can see, I mean, he doesn't acknowledge her, you know, he doesn't look at her hard work, he doesn't notice her, blah, blah, blah. Like, those little things are very important. Like, you have to be in a place where you are picking up on these cues. Like, you pay attention. Like, ladies love when you pay attention. And you're not all over them. You don't pedestalize, blah, blah, blah. You know what I'm saying? But you walk in, you come in, you be like, oh, hold on. Like, hey, I see you. You know what I'm saying? Little stuff like that to make her feel special, to make her blush. You know what I'm saying? You showing love to her because that's your wife. I'm like, are y'all even married? Because he treats her like she's just like, oh, okay, you cool. But I'm like, bruh, like, this is your wife. You know what I'm saying? She's beautiful. Like, you know, she's trying to be loyal to you. Like, it's crazy, bruh. It's crazy.
Feeling increasingly unfulfilled in her marriage, Angelika shifts her focus to ensuring Norma's wedding is perfect. With Simon accompanying her, she visits the wedding venue the day before the event to oversee the workers and help prepare the space. Later that day, Angelika joins the crew for a practice run, filling in as the bride. As she walks down the aisle, memories of her own wedding flood her mind. When she reaches the altar, Simon joins her, pretending to be the groom. Annoyed by his antics, Angelika starts to protest, but Simon urges her to relax and play along, joking that this might be the closest he'll ever get to a wedding. Simon then invites Angelika to dance, mimicking the bride and groom's first dance after exchanging vows. Initially hesitant, she eventually agrees. As they sway together, Angelika finds herself unexpectedly caught in the moment as she rests her head against his chest. For a fleeting second, it feels as though she's found something in Simon that's been missing in her life. However, reality quickly sets in, and she withdraws, regaining her composure. With the rehearsal complete, she gathers the crew and heads to a nearby lake with Simon to unwind with a swim. While they enjoy the water, Simon compliments Angelika on her hard work and creativity, suggesting she should consider becoming a full-time wedding planner. Curious, he later asks what she does for a living, and Angelika responds proudly that she's a housewife. When Simon remarks that it isn't really a job in the 21st century, Angelika counters that she doesn't care what others think, standing confidently by her choice. In response, he shares his fondness for household tasks, while insisting he doesn't view them as a job. Though amused by his take, she continues to defend her role as a housewife, even as she admits to not really getting anything in return. That evening, Angelika busies herself decorating the villa at the wedding venue for Norma and her partner's honeymoon. When Simon notices her struggling with the string lights, he offers to help, but she stubbornly declines. However, after watching her efforts falter, he steps in anyway and takes over. Once he's done with the lights, an awkward silence fills the space. Then, recalling Simon's earlier advice about following her feelings, Angelika finally admits that she desires to be intimate with him.
Oh.
Simon initially resists, firmly stating that it's a bad idea since she's already married and might get into trouble. However, she counters by saying she doesn't care. With the tension between them proving too strong, he eventually gives in and they share a passionate evening. The next morning, Simon and Angelika share a quiet moment by the lake, exchanging a soft kiss that seals their growing connection. Later, Darius arrives
Too easy. Too easy. I mean, I don't gotta explain it. I've been explaining the whole video. Let's finish. Let's keep watching.
at the wedding venue, capturing photos of the setup and admiring the remarkable work his wife has done. While speaking with Norma's relative, he laments how Angelika never had the chance to experience something so elaborate herself, given how meager his resources were when they got married. Moments later, Angelika approaches and gives her husband a warm hug, despite her conflicted feelings. Growing emotional, Darius suggests they have a second wedding. This time, a grand celebration unlike their modest first one. To his surprise, his ever-practical wife agrees without hesitation. Filled with excitement, Darius slips off his wedding ring and drops to one knee, proposing to his wife once more. Overcome with emotion, Angelika says yes, and they embrace tightly. However,
She was just with old dude. That's crazy. But go ahead.
their tender moment is abruptly interrupted as Norma angrily approaches Angelika, with Simon following close behind. Furious, the bride reveals that she just found out about what Angelika and Simon did the previous night. She then tells her best friend to leave, accusing her of ruining what's supposed to be a special day. Darius is stunned upon hearing this revelation. Enraged, he lunges at Simon, but the latter is able to strike first. As Angelika frantically tries to explain her side, her husband storms off, overcome with anger from her betrayal. That afternoon, Angelika returns home to find that her husband has already packed his belongings and left. Overwhelmed with grief and regret, she collapses into tears. The next day, Angelika wakes to yet another phone call from Simon, who has been persistently trying to reach her. Still reeling from the repercussions of what they did, she curtly tells him to stop calling and cuts the conversation short. Desperate to make amends, Angelika spends the entire day trying to call Darius, but each attempt goes unanswered. As the weight of her failing marriage sets in, she turns to substances she once vowed to avoid, seeking a fleeting escape from the pain. Determined to move forward, Angelika later transforms her appearance, restyling her hair, experimenting with bolder makeup, and stepping into outfits far removed from her usual style. She then goes to Norma's house, hoping to mend their strained relationship. Speaking through the intercom, Angelika apologizes profusely for ruining her wedding day. She also admits her regret for all the times she dismissed Norma's advice and declined her invitations to have fun as she clung too tightly to her principles. Angelika then reflects on the unusual hold Simon seems to have over her that led her to act in ways completely out of character. Before she
No. See, okay, this is the accountability thing that is so important. Like, when people say women aren't accountable, like, not gonna lie, I used to subscribe to that, but now I've grown. You know what I'm saying? I'm mature. Not all women, bro. Like, this right here, the way she's explaining this, like, oh, I don't know, he had a hold on me, he blah blah blah. No, this is what happened. Your husband was not doing what you needed from him. This man seemed like he was doing what, you know, you needed from him, needed from a guy. So it wasn't necessarily the guy, it was what he represented. You deep inside, her deep inside, wanted to be free. She wanted to be free spirited. She wanted to, like, explore. She wanted to blah blah blah. And it got to a point where, because the husband wasn't, she had changed to be what the husband, like, was looking for, right? But as it went, she felt like she wasn't getting what she needed from her quote unquote sacrifice. Like, she sacrificed who she wanted to be for him, right? Follow me. So after that, now she's blaming the other guy because he seems like he forced her or seduced her into, like, you know, talking to him and doing whatever. But really, that was in her. she was just looking for an excuse to do that. And that's the thing. Like, that's why she has no accountability. But there are other women that'll be like, yo, that was me. Like, I messed up, like, blah, blah, blah. And even, I've learned that even when, you know, those things come up, it's like, well, you never blah, blah, and you never blah, blah, blah. Like, it's no excuse. Like, that's on you. But I will say, take those, like, do take those notes for somebody else, though. Like, once they cheat on you, you out of there. You know what I'm saying? But take those notes for somebody else, and it's like, okay, well, I should have paid attention. I should have blah, blah, blah. I'm not going to be with you no more. But for the next person I'm with, I'll remember that. But, nah, you can't do that.
Dwell
Let me
further
go back a little bit.
over her tightly to her principles. Angelika then reflects on the unusual hold Simon seems to have over her that led her to act in ways completely out of character. Before she can dwell further, Norma opens the door, remarking how beautiful her wedding turned out despite everything that happened. Overjoyed to have her best friend back, Norma pulls Angelika into a warm embrace and invites her in. Inside the apartment, Norma excitedly shows Angelika photos of her wedding. She expresses heartfelt gratitude for her best friend's dedication in making it all possible, and apologizes for throwing her out of the event she worked so hard on. As they reminisce about the wedding, Angelika turns the conversation to her own marriage, admitting that she doesn't want to give up on it. Understanding her pain, Norma promises to help her try to reconnect with Darius. In return, Norma asks Angelika to apologize to Simon for what happened. Though hesitant, Angelika ultimately agrees, taking a sip of wine to ease her nerves before making her way to Simon's room. When Angelika admits she's not even sure why she's there, Simon playfully responds that she's there to join him on an adventure. Curious, she asks what he does, and he lists his usual passions: painting, music, running, and traveling. When she clarifies that she's referring to his profession, he casually reveals that he's an adult entertainer. Though amused, Angelika dismisses Simon's claim, insisting he must be joking. In response, Simon tells her it doesn't matter what he does for a living, instead reiterating his invitation for her to join him on an adventure. Angelika then confides her dreams of settling down, starting a family, and building a life filled with stability, goals, and ambition. Simon, however, waves off her vision and enthusiastically outlines his own plans for them: traveling the world, staying with friends along the way, and...
Now, wait a minute. I thought you were sorry for what happened. Now you're talking about, in the future, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. Whoa, whoa, whoa. See? That's what I'm saying.
taking part-time jobs to fund their carefree journey. As she mulls it over, he moves closer, and they end up making love. The next morning, Angelika reflects on her sheltered upbringing and her journey to finally breaking free and embracing the life she's always desired. Turning to Simon, she thanks him for being the catalyst that set her transformation in motion. True to her word, Norma later devises a plan to bring Darius to her home, under the
Oh my gosh, this is crazy.
pretense of needing his photography services for a children's party. After leading him into the living room, she discreetly knocks on a nearby door, signaling Angelika to come out. When Angelika steps into view, Darius instantly realizes it's a setup. As he starts to react, Angelika pleads with him to stay and hear her out. Speaking earnestly, she opens up about the realizations she's had over the past few days, about the importance of living in the moment, appreciating the little joys in life, letting go of rigid rules and perfection, and being more in tune with her emotions. Angelika apologizes sincerely for her betrayal and professes her deep desire to stay with him, insisting,
What? What is happening? Bro, what is happening? What is happening? There's two things happening here. She's with this dude. She just cheated on her husband again. And now she's like, look, I learned I want to be free. I want to, you know what I'm saying? I want to let go of rules. I want to blah, blah. So I'm like, okay, bet. Maybe I'm jumping the gun here, but we'll see. Because there's like a minute left. But like, okay, she's like, okay, like I want to be free now. I want to blah, blah, blah. Like, you know what I'm saying? No more rules. Okay, cool, right? So right. What would you expect from that? I would expect like, so we're not going to be back together, right? We're not going to get back together because you represent rules, you know what I'm saying? Control, not necessarily control, but like rules, like, you know, all this stuff that's like not freedom, not, you know, free spirit stuff. And so I'm expecting her to be like, yeah, no, we're not going to be together. I'm going to be with a guy that I want to be free with. And then she's like, so with all that being said, I want to get back together with you. What? I don't know what's wrong with this girl. What's wrong with her? Okay.
They are made
Let me go
clearly
back.
for her betrayal, and professes her deep desire to stay with him, insisting they are made for each other. She then gently invites him to make love, hoping to rekindle their bond. However, Darius refuses, admitting that it's no longer just about her betrayal. Everything she's just said has left him questioning if he even knows who she is anymore. He reminds her that it was her and her family who instilled those rigid principles in the first place. While he initially struggled with them, he acknowledges that her values ultimately made him a better person.
Wait. What is happening, bruh? I'm more confused in this last minute than I was this whole video. So you mean to tell me she was the one that was rigid and instituted that for him? So was he more like free spirited in the beginning, and she turned him into this? Like, he said he's better for it, but like, it was her. She made him this, and now she cheats on him and was like, "You're too like rules." I thought he was like this the whole time, but it was her. What is wrong with her? And usually, okay, like I said, hey, I'm not judging, but this is crazy. Y'all gotta admit, this is crazy. All right, let's see if I can finish this without questions, because every time they say something, it's crazier. And he is turning her down. She just was with the brother. And now she's like, "Oh, but like, come on, let's go." What? No, like, I didn't even want to come and see you. And now you're like, "Come on." Like, no. Like,
For her to now abandon those ideals is something he struggles to understand. As Darius criticizes her newfound perspective, Angelika experiences a sudden epiphany. She realizes they're no longer truly compatible, and that the version of herself he once loved no longer exists. With clarity and determination, she turns and walks away, choosing to be with the man who has inspired her to embrace her true self. Spotting Simon on the street, Angelika playfully echoes his earlier words, asking if he's ready for an adventure. Surprised but thrilled by her choice, Simon flashes a grin and joins her. Side by side, they walk down the street, brimming with excitement for the journey ahead.
Subscribe to watch more videos like this.
okay. A few things before I end this video. First of all, this is crazy. Let me say that. Let's start there. That's insane. Number two. That's so confusing. But that is those free spirited women. If you're free spirited, I love you. I do. But I can't date you. Quick story before I end this video. So there was a girl was this high school or college? One of those, but that I really liked, right? I was like, man, this girl is like, she's pretty, like, blah, blah. She kind of looked, she kind of looked like the girl in this video, kind of, but like, this girl's pretty, but the other girl, she was pretty too. But I was really into her, and I was like, man, like, she's so beautiful, like, blah, blah, blah. And, but she was like this. She was very free-spirited, very, like, I feel like doing this. I feel like doing blah, blah, blah. And so, like, there would be times when she showed that she liked me. And so I was like, okay, she likes me. Like, and I would say I'm more so like the husband, not as rigid, because, he's too much. But, like, y'all know, like, I'm kind of like him. Like, I have values, I guess. But so basically, I realized that she had me on a roller coaster. Like, I would like her, and then she would like me. And so I'd be like, okay, so let's go get dinner, blah, blah. And then she'd be like, oh, like, I don't see you like this. I'd be like, okay, bet. Which for me, that's cool. Then she ended up having a boyfriend. I was like, okay, now I know it's over, blah, blah, blah. But then we would go places, and then she'd be talking to me like, oh, blah, blah, blah. You know what I'm saying? I'd be like, I thought you had a boyfriend. She'd be like, oh, we broke up, blah, blah. So I'm like, okay, like, so are you trying to be with me, whatever? Like, and then she'd be like, oh, well, I just don't see you like this. So I was like, what is going on? So, in those situations, if you feel, let me tell y'all something, because I love God, you know what I'm saying? I love the Lord. So let me tell y'all something. God is not the author of confusion. The devil is the author of confusion. So if you're confused, guess what? It's not God. You will not be confused. If it's God, you're not going to be confused. You're going to know exactly what you need to do. Now, if you do it, that's where the confusion comes, where you're like, man, I know God's telling me to do this, but should I? Okay, that's on you. But if the situation like that, like I just explained, I'm confused. I'm like, all right, obviously this ain't the thing. So what I did was I took myself out of the situation. When I saw her, it was cool, you know what I'm saying? But I let go of that maybe one day type thing. I let go of that. Like, I was like, I'm never going to be with you. Never. But we cool. Like, we cool. So all that to say, let me go ahead and end this video. But old girl wildin', you know what I'm saying? Like, she tripping. And then the unicorn thing at the end to show that was her nickname, blah, blah, blah. Stop it.